Now, live, Local 2 at 10.
You rely on them every day to keep you and your family safe on the road, but could the tires on your car be putting you in danger? The information tire companies don't want you to know is tonight's big story. Good evening. We begin with a Troubleshooters exclusive.
We broke the story about the Firestone tire danger, but even years after the initial crisis, you may still not be getting the whole story when it comes to your tires. Tonight, a local family says one company is hiding a deadly hazard, a hazard they say killed a little girl. Now they're fighting to make it public. Local 2 troubleshooter Robert Arnold live in Southeast Houston with the exclusive details tonight. Robert?
The goal was to arm you with crucial safety information when the time came to buy the tires your family rides on. Instead, legal wranglings are now preventing you from seeing this important safety information.
Too hard for a grandfather to look at these pictures. Too tough for a father to talk about.
When something like this happens, part of the family dies.
12-year-old Mercedes Oviedo was with her family visiting relatives in Mexico when, on a highway there, something went wrong with the tire on their SUV. The SUV went off the road and rolled 3 times. Mercedes was in the far back seat. She died at the hospital.
We had a lot of dreams that will never come true.
Sergio Oviedo blames the crash on the tire, saying the tread separated, causing him to lose control. Attorney Rob Ammons says it was a BF Goodrich brand. Ammons says it's the second tire he's seen, same kind, made at the same Oklahoma plant, to have a tread separation and be involved in a deadly crash.
Whenever you start to see patterns in tires from a certain plant having problems like we're seeing here, the level of suspicion starts to rise.
BF Goodrich says there was no tread separation problem in this case, much less any pattern. So, has anyone else ever reported a similar problem?
If they have, our investigation raises questions as to why you may not know about it, no matter what kind of tire it is.
After the nationwide Firestone tire recall, tire failures were part of the information included in the government's new early warning system. Congress forced auto and tire makers to report any claims of injuries, death, or damage blamed on faulty tires or car parts. The goal, avoid a rash of accidents by discovering an actual safety problem sooner. But more than a year after the feds began receiving this information, no one, not attorneys like Ammons or consumer groups or anyone else, has been able to look through these reports to see if there are similar cases or patterns. In the Oviedo's case, to see if there are any other reports in the same kind of tires.
We fought hard for that information. The tire manufacturers are trying to hide that information, to keep it away from the public.
Tire makers sued to keep the feds from making these reports public, saying the law was never intended to do that. Instead, they argue it was simply to let investigators see the information faster. They believe a public release could be incorrect and premature. Dan Zielinski is a spokesman for the Rubber Manufacturers Association in Washington, D.C.
What we believe is that the information is properly reported to the federal safety regulators who have the knowledge and expertise to evaluate this vast and complex data and then make a determination whether or not a safety concern exists.
Until all these legal battles are settled, the feds will keep this information from the public.
They care more about the business than people's safety.
The Oviedo family says that leaves them fighting a battle without all of the information. Attorneys like Ammons claim it could mean more victims before a safety problem is made public.
We're back to where we were. We've been denied access to the information that would have allowed us to see trends early on and to prevent these types of accidents from occurring.
Now, in the Oviedo case, BF Goodrich says the tire suffered severe damage when it was used as a spare, and that's what caused it to tear apart. The statement from the company reads in part, "We regret this accident occurred and cannot find any reason to believe that this tire failed due to a manufacturing or design issue." We are live in Southeast Houston. I'm Robert Arnold, Local 2 News.
Thank you, Robert. Consumer groups have sued the feds for more potential defect information to become public so that they can do their own independent investigations. But it could be months or even years before any decisions are made in any of the lawsuits with the government. If you have a story for our troubleshooters, call their tip line. Here it is on your screen, 713-223-TIPS.